The narrative unfolds in a secret locale within the Uishu Academy, a place ensconced by mountains, where the terrain is complex, filled with plains, rivers, monsters, and oddities. Among all this lies a forbidden valley, a darkened chasm invisible to the eye and surrounded by a desolate landscape. Our attention is drawn to 3 men, 2 of whom are carrying a sack containing a living person. The leader of the trio instructs them to bring the sack closer to the crevice. One man expresses his fear to the leader that if others discover this, they would be branded as criminals. The leader, disgruntled, kicks the sack off the cliff, stating that the man in the sack's punishment is for interfering in personal affairs. The sack plunges into the chasm and is impaled on the bone of an ancient dragon that has lain dormant for ages. An ancient voice resonates from the dragon, stating that after millions of years of waiting, it will finally be free and will aid in shattering the heaven, drawing upon its power. The dragon imbues the young man in the sack with divine strength. The young man is named Chen, and he is our main character in this manhwa. Upon awakening, the young man, utterly naked, finds himself facing the dragon. He inquires about the dragon's identity and whether it was the one who saved him. The dragon replies that it's a mighty dragon system named Shenlong, the term system being a designation for entities akin to him. The young man can call him father, as the dragon intends to exploit him. The dragon urges him not to ask more questions, assuring that in due time, our protagonist will realize the dragon's importance as it will facilitate his return to life and bestow gifts of resurrection. The dragon merges with our hero, granting him powers that heal his wounds completely. The first gift is the Path of Spiritual Chaos, the second is the 5-element dragon. The Path of Spiritual Chaos is deemed the most superior and rarest path in the world. Out of nowhere, a gigantic egg descends upon our hero. It embodies everything, and with the acquisition of the 5-element dragon, the soul's path will mimic it. The egg symbolizes the path of the spiritual fire. The resurrection phase ends, and it's time for the first mission. All missions are categorized into 4 levels, A, B, C, D, with A being the most challenging, and D the simplest. Any mistake could result in the mission's termination. Our hero is assigned his first D-ranked mission, to aid the first man in soliciting help from all his powers. As a reward, he will be given the opportunity to incubate the fire egg. Our hero exits the gorge with the power of wind and embarks on his mission. Along the way, he encounters a naked woman. Our hero hadn't expected the first person he would encounter to be a beautiful woman. Despite her allure, she paled in comparison to his younger training sister. He reasoned that whoever had thrown him into the gorge intended harm upon his younger sister, vowing to crush that person's skull with his own hands if he dared touch her. At this moment, the woman realizes that she is being watched. She calls out for the observer to show themselves when a massive bear leaps out. She acknowledges that a fight is inevitable, but, given her nudity, she needs to dress first. As she reaches for her clothes and her mother's pendant, the bear attacks, swatting the pendant into a rock and shattering it. From the bushes, our hero pounces on the bear and subdues it. He asks if the woman is all right, but then another bear appears. The second bear, enormous in size, charges at the pair. It tries to crush them, but our hero holds off its paw. Realizing that physical contact with the naked beauty is inevitable, he grabs her, and they dodge the bear's attack. The woman says that she needs her pendant. His new companion, a tiny dragon, suggests that his mission to help involves more than just saving her life. Our hero charges at the bear and defeats it with a fiery punch. Upon finding the pendant and noticing it's broken, more bears sneak up on them. They begin to attack, but the dragon companion tosses the fire egg to our hero for assistance. The gigantic bears flee at the sight of the egg. Our main character is puzzled, what's supposed to hatch from the egg? But until it hatches, the little dragon will take care of it. The mission must be completed. After a while, our hero returns to the woman, asking her how she's doing. She requests that he find her some clothes and return her pendant. If he returns the pendant, she will owe him a debt and will try to help him. Our hero hands over the pendant, which is unfortunately broken. The woman begins to cry, explaining that it was the last memento from her mother. The dragon offers a piece of advice: the mission will be completed when the pendant is fixed. To do this, a bit of blood can be used. By the way, apart from our hero, no one else can see the dragon. Our hero asks for the pendant from the woman, drops a droplet of his blood on it, and voila, it's fixed. The pendant was repaired, but our hero nearly lost consciousness. It seems that it's because of the use of pure blood energy to repair the pendant. This action must consume a lot of energy. Even though they were strangers, he risked his life to help the girl. The girl thanks our hero with a kiss, as he was willing to risk his life for her, and no one, except her mother, had done that before. Suddenly, Uncle Chen appears and the girl pushes our hero away. As she leaves, she bids farewell to our hero and tells him not to forget her name, Juzayan. After she leaves, our hero is left alone. Melting from the kiss, and in a state of euphoria, he finds some medicinal pills in her old clothes that replenish blood energy. Blood recovery pills are quite rare medications, even sometimes forcing the wealthy to pay up. Why did she leave them for him? Our dragon friend replies that she saw the hero repair the pendant with blood energy. Blood energy is a dangerous spiritual technique. But Tianlin does not regret it at all. He takes the pills. A dragon appears and tells Tianlin that he has successfully completed the first mission and his reward is the earth sign. The little dragon suggests gathering spiritual energy in the sign and throwing it at the egg. Gathering all the energy and directing it to the egg, it cracks and a jet of fiery flame erupts from it. Tian braces for impact when suddenly another cute girl emerges from the egg. Tian is bewildered. How can a person come out of an egg? Then the little dragon explains that this is a flame dragon, one of the 5 elemental dragons. But she shouldn't be underestimated just because she looks like a human. If he were to see her true form, Tian would look no stronger than a child compared to her. If Tian becomes stronger, she may be able to exceed her strength limit in the future and reveal her true essence. The problem is figuring out how to tame her, as first impressions are very important. It's like taming a cat. At this moment the girl wakes up and jumps onto a tree with a swift movement. Asking who Chen is, he tells her his name. In response, he does not get her name and decides to call her Mei Mei. Mei Mei is angry, but Tian offers her a bun, all that remains of their food supplies. She snatches it, eats it and thanks him. Then, he draws a retreat plan with a stick on the ground and finds the only path through the combat zone. But if they want to leave, the people who threw him down the gorge will be there too. Tianlin and his companions found an exit while tiptoeing. It seems safe, but the moment they cross the gate, all the guards will notice them. As soon as they find out, they will rush at them immediately. The little dragon asks, how did Tian fall into the gorge in the first place? Tian replies that his spiritual energy flows were destroyed, and one person told him that there is a flower that can heal energy flows, so he decided not to give up and came here. He found the flower, but it was a trap that made him fall into a pit and lose consciousness. Tian wasn't really worried about who told him about the flower, his goal was to find it. At this moment, the familiar old bears appear and attack Tian. Tian picks up Mei Mei and tries to escape, but the giant bear crushes him. Protected, Tian and Mei survive. Mei, seeing that Tian protected her, gives him her power, and Tian awakens his power. After using the power, the bears run away from Tian again, but he catches up and attacks them. The bears fall unconscious, as does our hero. Mei catches him. The little dragon asks Mei, what are you going to do with him? She replies that she will take him to the river. The little dragon says that this is a bad idea, because if she throws him into the river, he will drown. They need a warm and safe place. Coming to his senses, Tian finds himself in a cave on a fire, with an apple in his mouth, like a roast pig. Mei jokingly lets out a little bit of fire to roast Tian. Having recovered after using the power, Tian thinks that the changing of the guards will only last a couple of seconds, so they can run away unnoticed. But the sun is about to rise, and their plan can only be carried out with the onset of darkness. He asks the little dragon how he was able to defeat the bears on his own, because he had never seen such power before. The little dragon explains that Tian and Mei are emotionally compatible, so they were able to release the dragon's power. However, he would not advise continuing to use this technique for the time being, because if they fail to overcome the enemy with its help, they will die. Tian says he has figured out how to get out and pulls out the salvation mantra. Next, we are shown the building of the Yuishu Academy. It is a palace surrounded by dozens of miles of mountainous terrain. Tens of thousands of students are studying at the academy. We are shown the master who got rid of Tian. His name is Chen. He talks to his wards and tells them that the power of the academy is the power of its master and students. The master retires, and he will need such a capable student as him to increase the power of the academy. They remind him of Tian, who disappeared and who was also famous throughout the academy. The master will want to find him. At this moment, Chen punches one of his wards, saying that Tian is dead and his bones are destroyed. At this moment, Tian appears using the salvation mantra. Chen addresses Tian, telling him to stop joking and devote more time to training. But at this moment, Tian recognizes the voice that tried to get rid of him. Tian hits Chen on the hand. Chen asks him, how dare he do this, calling Tian a useless outcast. Tian tells Chen that he always looks down on him and suggests a duel to the death. The duel will take place in 3 days. The winner bears no responsibility for the defeat and death of the opponent. Chen is ready to accept the challenge, but then Xiao Lu, the master's daughter, appears. Chen tells her that Tian challenged him to a death duel on the day of their wedding and she should come and see everything for herself. Tian is indignant. How can Xiao marry such an unworthy person? Xiao replies that she is happy with the marriage and the whole academy found out about their marriage. Tian was not there when the father announced the wedding. Tian rushes to Xiao, saying, how can this even be, but gets slapped. Tian has a new goal, to show the whole academy the true face of Chen. Chen tells Tian that he has no evidence and he had better keep his tongue behind his teeth, or he will cut it out. Tian leaves, but Xiao stops him. She says that his meridians were damaged 3 years ago and have become completely useless. His family should visit them, at least to pick up the body. From this moment on, Xiao Lu is an enemy. Tianlin runs to his room. Tian wants to prove his power to the whole academy. Then the little dragon appears with a new task. Level D task, get underwear from the one he recently helped. Reward, the Amulet of Refreshing Papers. This is a new book of techniques for the fire dragon, one of the dragons of the 5 elements. Tian replies that he has no time for the task now because he needs to train to beat up Chen. The little dragon says that Tian can train at any time, but can't complete the task anytime. All in all 2 hours. If the task is not completed within the allotted time, Tian will die. Tian says he doesn't even know where Zhu is at the moment. Then the little dragon answers, in the palace of the Yuishu Academy. Tian stealthily makes his way to the guest room of the palace. He considers the task foolish, wondering who he is to steal someone else's underwear. Tian and the little dragon create a tiny peephole to spy and find Zhu. In her turn, she arrived at the academy only the night before and had been awake all night. Tian feels a bit shy, but the little dragon reminds him that only 1 hour remains. At that moment, the lights go out, and Tian notices another guy in her room. He is holding a rare amulet of invisibility. The unfamiliar guy tries to put Zhu to sleep, but Tian sneaks up from behind. Tian flings the guy aside. The guy tells him that Zhu is the most beautiful girl in the academy, and furthermore, she's a virgin. The guy offers to share her with Tian since his smoke can put someone to sleep for 3 days. Tian tries to chase him away, but he disperses the smoke and Tian falls under its influence. Possessing the inner power of the dragon, Tian does not fall asleep, but the smoke has weakened him. The guy starts to approach Zhu while Tian is out of action, but Tian remembers Zhu's kiss and the dragon's power awakens within him. Unleashing it, he seizes the guy. Tian incinerates the guy, stating that it was necessary. Tian tries to cover Zhu with a blanket, but the little dragon asks, what is he doing? He should quickly grab the underwear. After he leaves, it turns out that Zhu had been awake all along. She tries to understand why he would need her underwear. The task is accomplished. Zhu's underwear will be of use to him in the future. Tian receives the first dragon art as a reward. Tian asks, is acquiring such skills really so easy? To which the little dragon responds, don't jump to conclusions without trying it out for yourself. Tian charges a fire sphere. A fiery clone of Tian appears and a battle begins. The little dragon tells him that if Tian touches the flame, he will instantly turn to ashes. In the fight, Tian's clone begins to attack him, while Tian retreats. He doesn't know how to fight it. The little dragon tells him that if he wants to win, he needs to strike. While Tian is fighting, the little dragon and Mei take a vacation for themselves. At one point, the battle turns as Tian learns to absorb the power of his clone. This was the first test he successfully passed. In return, he received a fiery sword. The first martial arts value bravery. If Tian lacks the courage even to become stronger, then this is all not for him. In the next 3 days, he will be learning and battling with the master of this art, and his opponent is Mei. Tian began training all these 3 days. The day of the competition arrives. Chen openly insults Tian, calling him a coward. Zio says that Tian wouldn't have the courage to show up, as his spiritual roots have been destroyed. Naturally, he is hiding somewhere. At that moment, Tian appears. Chen asks Tian not to complain if he beats him. In response, Tian tells him not to intimidate him, for the duel is already going to happen. The duel begins. The winner will be the one who stays in the ring the longest. Tian analyzes that he and Chen, are spiritual mentors of the Foreign Learning Palace, and they all are Dansha Jing. His ability level is much higher than his is. Yet they refused him when his spirit was suppressed. Chen attacks Tian with the 5th layer of the Peak Rock Dansha Jing. Tian sees that these are lethal movements. Apparently, Chen is really trying to kill him. Chen tries to attack Tian, but he dodges. Eventually, Tian pulls out his fiery sword. Tian attacks Chen, but he bends in the air and hits Tian's hand with a fan, causing his fiery sword technique to stop. Avoiding Chen's attacks, Tian strengthens his waist and stomach to move more freely. Wise. Everyone is chanting for Chen to finish with Tian. Tian thinks he could kill him with one blow, taking advantage of his opening. But he reacts very quickly. His right hand is numb. Chen tries to finish with Tian, but at that moment, Tian launches the fiery sword technique and it's only a moment before the academy master appears. In the hall, on the red carpet, the master reprimands Chen and Tian for what happened. Chen says that it was Tian who challenged him to a fight, as his daughter, Zio, is marrying him. Tian confirms his words, talks about how he couldn't control his emotion, and is ready to accept the master's punishment. But after what she did to him, he wants nothing to do with her. The master reflects that Lin Tian's spiritual core was broken, and he decided to give Zio to Chen. However, apparently, his core is now restored. This was evident from their duel. For Lin Tian, admission to the inner sub-school is just a matter of time. Chen is older and his potential has almost reached its limit. He is unlikely to ever be much stronger than he is now. Tian has every chance to make a name for himself all over the world. Chen thinks that the master is wondering how to punish Tian. But the master gives out information. He will temporarily suspend the engagement, for he wants to give his daughter to the strongest student. The entrance exam to the inner sub-school will take place in 3 months. Whoever of them, Chen or Tian, does it better, he will be the groom. At this time, Zhu was watching the event. She wonders, does Tian really like Zio that much? Uncle Chen approaches her and tells her they have no time. Master Lu awaits them. Master Lu receives a visit from Zhu and Uncle Chen. Zhu asks Lu, perhaps he already knows the purpose of their visit. Lu says yes, he has already been informed. They talk about some remains, which are a pile of bones and no spiritual power circulates in them. Just a lifeless skeleton of a monster. Ju says that there is an order from above, you need to personally inspect everything, because the situation is not ordinary. Ju asks to accompany Master Lu to the inspection site. In the room, Chen reflects that since his body has acquired a fiery spiritual core, the cultivation process has noticeably accelerated. But this is not enough. If he wants to enter the inner sub-school, he needs to develop Dancha's energy to the 7th stage, and now he is only on the 3rd. Dancha's energy technique is taught in sub-school D. The Yuchu school is divided into 4 sub-schools. A, B, C, D, and B are internal, C and D are external. But at the same time, Dancha's energy is inferior to the moon coolness technique, which is taught in sub-school C. With the help of moon coolness, you can absorb moonlight and accelerate cultivation. The technique of Dancha's energy is very ancient and is often passed down only by inheritance. Developing Dancha's energy to the 7th stage is only necessary for admission to the inner sub-school. After admission, no one continues to develop it, as other techniques are studied. In that case, Tian is given a new task, to develop the Dancha's energy technique to the 8th stage. The reward is the secrets of the Supreme Dancha. Meanwhile, Lu, Ju, and Uncle Chen arrive at the burial site of the remains. They came to the very place where Chen was thrown. They see that the dragon's skeleton is gone. We are transported in time a month later. Tian is cultivating at the top of the mountain. Tian has broken through to the 8th stage of Dancha's energy. Having lost his spiritual core and regained it, his cultivation abilities have only intensified. He was able to reach the 8th level in just a month. The task is completed. Tian receives the secrets of the Supreme Dancha. It turns out that some key points of the treatise are not studied at Tian's school at all. From this, it is concluded that no one will be able to master this technique beyond the 7th stage. Of course, no one wants to spend time studying a technique that can't be developed to any serious level. Tian's skills allow him to try a new technique. It turns out that the owner of this technique does not need to specifically release energy, it is enough just to let it go. The release of the power drained all of Tian's energy and he became powerless. Mei feeds him fish so that he can recover faster. We are transported to the master's throne room. Ju says that she has been at the academy for over a month, but all was in vain. She will have to return empty-handed and report this to the leadership. Lu tells her that the disappearance of the dragon's remains is indeed inexplicable, but he will personally supervise the search for the remains. Obviously, the remains have been stolen and need to be found as soon as possible. As he leaves, Uncle Chen tells Ju that perhaps the boy who saved Ju stole them. Ju says this is impossible, he could not have carried off the remains alone. Suddenly, a magical aura pours out from behind the mountains. Ju decides to go see what's going on. Xiao comes to Tian. She says that a person who reached the 8th stage couldn't have been Tian. They start arguing and Xiao says she would never marry Tian, and if it weren't for her father, Chen would have killed Tian. Xiao tries to hit Tian, but Ju appears. She asks Chen, did he reach the 8th level stage? Uncle Chen and Ju call Tian gifted, but Xiao doesn't believe it and tries to prove it to them with a sudden strike. Barely touching Tian, he didn't feel the strike. Tian tells Xiao to tell her father about this, and she leaves. Ju calls Tian a good fellow, but what he did is not quite like the usual Dancha's energy. Tian doesn't understand what she's talking about, as he was just training. The secrets of the Supreme Dancha are considered a lost technique. If anyone finds out that it has become available to Tian, there will be a lot of questions. It's better not to advertise it yet. Ju and Tian flirt sweetly, but Uncle Chen says it's time for them to go. Saying goodbye, Tian calls his name to Ju, and she leaves. Meanwhile, the dragon gives Tian a new task. A C-level task, to take first place in the entrance exam to the inner sub-school. Reward, a treatise with techniques for practicing movements of the secrets of the Supreme Dancha and 20 Dragon Balls. What are Dragon Balls? We'll find out later. To dispel Tian's skepticism, the dragon shows him the task selection system. There are 3D ranked tasks, for each of which you can get 5 Dragon Balls. When performing a C-level task, it's very possible that you will have to collect Dragon Balls up to 100 with the help of D-level tasks. At this moment, a parishioner comes running and tells Tian that Master Lu is looking for him. The master is aware that Tian has broken through the 8th level stage and wants to discuss further prospects with him. The parishioner leads Tian into a dark alley, but it turns out to be a trap. A hatch opens under Tian's feet. In the open hatch, there are sharp spikes, but Tian, skillfully climbing back up the walls, tries to get out. Suddenly, the master's magical bag flies in, which turns into a huge boulder. The boulder covers the hatch and Chen's people discuss Tian's death. If they didn't kill him this time, Chen himself will finish them off. Going home, with the technique of the fire sword, Tian gets out of the trap. Chen's people use a bag from which huge stones roll out, but Tian eliminates them with a sword. Chen's people ask him to spare them, but Tian recognizes familiar voices that tried to get rid of him.